set of blessings. Hear us as we heard Lane play, as we say, give thanks. Know, Father, how much we love you. Know, God, how much we need you. Know, Lord, how much we want to hear you speak to us as we very shortly begin our journey to Lent. So this morning, we start by giving you thanks. In Jesus' name, amen. Shining faces, smiling faces, happy faces. Moses was scared faced too. And Jesus there on the mount. And your shining faces. I wouldn't trade your shining faces for anybody in the world. And I mean that. This morning, as we talk about shining faces, we're not just talking about biblical heroes. I'm talking about you. And I hope somewhere in there I fall in the category too. Hear the word from Exodus. Now it was so, when Moses came down from Mount Sinai, and the 2 tablets of the testimony were in Moses' hand when he came down from the mountain, that Moses did not know that the skin of his face shone while he talked with him, God. So when Aaron and all the children of Israel saw Moses, behold, the skin of his face shone, and they were afraid to come near him. Then Moses called to them, and Aaron and all the rulers of the congregation returned to him Moses, and Moses talked with them. Afterward, all the children of Israel came near, and he gave them as commandments all that the Lord had spoken with him on Mount Sinai. And when Moses had finished speaking with them, he put a veil on his face. But whenever Moses went in before the Lord to speak with him, God, he would take the veil off until he came out. And he would come out and speak to the children of Israel whatever he had been commanded. And whenever the children of Israel saw the face of Moses, that the skin of Moses' face shone, then Moses would put the veil on his face again until he went in to speak with him. The word of God for the people of God. Thanks be to God. Many years ago, I asked Ann to marry me. I'm not going to tell you how many.
A lot.
And she said, a lot. And she said yes. That was a mountaintop experience for me. But it was a mountaintop experience for her too, because I'm sure she had been panting for me to ask her to marry her.
Right.
Everyone, I love the tete-a-tete in our services. I do. Every one of us have had wonderful, worldly, mountaintop experiences. The birth of a child, the time you got your driver's license, your first grandchild, a meal at Christmas or Thanksgiving when everybody was there. And it was just, I want to use the word joyous, and that's probably the word I should use, but in my family, it's a riotous occasion. And it is a mountaintop experience because when love overflows, it is a mountaintop experience. And then there are quiet ones. Floyd, I wish he were here this morning. I think he probably has some of his best mountaintop experiences at 6:15 in the morning sitting out on the dock. Just sitting there, looking at the mist rise off that lake and hoping something grabs hold of that hook. Mountaintop experiences come in so many flavors. There are times shared with friends or loved ones, or maybe even a deep moment of inward thinking and reflection. And these experiences are meaningful and they're important, but they're human experiences. And they're worldly experiences. And they have their place in the realm of ordinary life. But there are also glorious worship experiences when we feel on top of the world. And momentous mountaintop experiences are exhilarating. And us, just as it did those on the Mount of Transfiguration, what causes us to want to make them last indefinitely. Now, high places, mountains, are traditionally believed to be closer to heaven, closer to God. And the majesty and glory of a mountain in and of itself is majestic in its powerful presence. I'm going Tuesday to Montana, and I will fly into Denver over the Rockies, and I'll fly out of Denver over the Rockies. And as you look down, it's hard to believe that beauty like that exists. And the mountains are a symbol of endurance, and they're a symbol of stability. But more than anything, for those of us that are Christians, for those of us who acknowledge God as the creator of all things, they're a symbol of His might and of His majesty. Throughout Scripture, all the way through the book, mountaintops have been places where humanity, us, meets and communicates with God. Way back in the ancient, pre-scientific world, mountains were thought to be the dwelling places, the home of all the gods, with a small case G. It's on Mount Moriah, not out there, but on Mount Moriah in the Holy Land, where Abraham takes that giant step of faith and he lays Isaac on the table of sacrifice. On Mount Carmel, Elijah sees the magnificent, mighty power of God in a triumph over those prophets of Baal. So Moses climbs up Mount Sinai to be in the presence of God and to receive the Ten Commandments. Moses stays up there a pretty good time, and Moses comes down to the people at the foot of the mountain. And when he gets down there, he's very much unaware that his face is glowing with godly radiance. His shining face is so full of the glory of God that the people are afraid of him. He is a frightful sight to the Israelites, and he has to put a veil over his face. Moses had mountaintop experiences unlike any others. We might call them close encounters of the divine kind. And on another mountain, Moses, that we read about this morning, meets God and Elijah. And then, looky here. Here comes Jesus and James and Peter and John. And the voice of God makes it clear why all of this is happening. That voice Kathy read, and it said, "This is my son, my chosen." And those last words, "Listen to him." There was a lot competing for the attention of the people. God gives a direct order. Listen to him. He's saying, listen to Jesus, for in his words and in his actions you will hear and you will see me, God, among you. Well, Moses and Elijah both are strengthened in faith through their mountaintop experiences that they have with God. And when they join Jesus and his disciples there on the Mount of Transfiguration, they are representatives of two things: the law and the prophets. Moses knows firsthand that radiance that's streaming from Jesus' face because of Moses' own shining face when he experienced God's presence up there on Mount Sinai. Now, think about what you know about Moses. Moses is a cool character. I like Moses. He led an exciting life. It was full of drama. It was full of intrigue. But it was a real life. It was like our lives. It had ups. It had downs. In his earliest years as an infant, what did he do? He set sail in a life-saving basket, only to be pulled out of the Nile by Pharaoh's daughter. Moses, who was a child of slaves, is raised as royalty, as the Prince of Egypt. But he's reminded of his roots in Hebrew slavery. And after he was raised in the royal palace, he tosses away his dazzling career and the potential he had by killing an Egyptian taskmaster. And so he loses all that he had, and he becomes a fugitive, fleeing from it for his life, from the Egyptian police. And he ends up out in the desert, in a wilderness, all by his little lonesome self, and he was unhappy. Well, sitting by a well out there in the wilderness, he meets a lady. Her name is Zipporah. And later they get married. And Zipporah's daddy is a shepherd. So while Moses has a job tending Zipporah's father's sheep, one day he grazes those sheep. He takes them too close to Mount Oreb, which is also known as Sinai, and he looks over there. And there at his right-hand side was a burning bush. And Moses had a little bit of cat in him, I think, because he became very curious about that burning bush. So he goes over and he gets closer, and he gets closer, and he gets closer, and all of a sudden a voice booms out, "Moses! Moses!" And Moses realized that voice was from God. And Moses, remember he stutters, Moses managed to stammer, "Here I am." "Take off your sandals. You are standing on holy ground," the voice responds. So here we have barefoot Moses, looking at that bush, hearing that voice, and sensing the glory and the presence of God. So Moses and God converse. They have a conversation. And God explains a plan to Moses to free his people, God's people, from their slavery in Egypt. And Moses is in a worshipful mood. He becomes melancholy and he becomes attuned to what God's saying. And he realizes, right in the midst of this, that he's about to have another career change right here in midlife. He really doesn't feel up to the challenge. He really doesn't want to do it. But God promises that he will provide Moses with what? With a spokesperson. One that will speak for him and anything else that Moses may need for the journey. Because you see, God has a dream. God had a dream that God's people would be free from the abusive Egyptian rulers. And not only does he have a dream, he's got a plan to bring that dream about. So God descends into our world and becomes one of us as Moses embodies the presence of God for the people of Israel. Now Moses seems to spend a whole lot of time, a great deal of time, up there on the mountain with God. And he leaves all of those Israelites, all of those common people down there in normal, ordinary time below at the foot of the mountain. But we must remember that communing with God there on Mount Sinai is the high point of Moses' life. But there's a flip side to this coin. There's bad news also. While God and Moses are having this mountaintop experience, the troops below are getting very, very restless. And they're wondering when old shiny-faced Moses is going to come down from that mountain, and if and when he's going to put on that silly veil. This trek that Moses is leading them on was much, much more than what they had bargained for, and they weren't happy about it. The people that were down there in the valley, they were turning their eyes from glory. They weren't happy campers. They formed a Back to Egypt committee. And they convinced Aaron, who had become Moses' spokesperson, to create for them what? A golden calf. And when that happens, makes two folks mad. It makes Moses mad. It makes God